Welcome back to my FireFall guides. In today's guide I'm going to talk about weapon upgrades and item stats and what they mean to your equipment and the way your character plays and what the bonuses mean. First we'll start by talking about the items in general and the rarity levels. Like most games, the rarity levels of items are shown by the different color in the background of the item tags. For example, if it has a gray background like this this SMG, this is a common level, a rarity. The green background is the next step up. These are basically uncommon, slightly more rare and better stats. The next step up is blue, which are rare type items. And then finally, purple background are epic. You can see, as far as upgradeability goes, common items usually only have one module slot. This SMG has a red empty module slot. This uncommon shotgun has two module slots. As you can see at the bottom of the information here, there's a red and a yellow, and those are both empty slots right now. This rare has three module slots, as well as the epic. Let's take a look at this gun. I've already upgraded this gun with some modules. Now, as we saw before, it has three slots: a red slot, a yellow slot, and a blue slot. And because it's a weapon, I can only plug in weapon modules. There's two types of modules. There are ability modules and weapon modules. I'll get into the ability modules in just a minute. So here are my available weapon modules I have in my inventory. The confusing thing is they use the same primary colors for both the classifications of modules and the rarity slots. For example, this module right here is a red module, but it's a rare red module, so it has a blue background. So you can't put this module in the blue slot because this is a red module. Red modules can only go in red slots. So this is a rare red module. Going back here, you can see in a red module slot it has these two colors on the top. There's an orange and a purple. And for this one, the yellow slot, there's green and orange. And for blue, you can put purple or green. This is because modules don't come in just primary colors. They come in halfway colors, which give you benefits of both colors. For instance, this right here is a rare purple module. Now, a purple module could go in a blue or a red module slot. And you can see it has two types of abilities for this one module. It increases the rate of fire and the charge up of a weapon. Rate of fire is usually a red module stat, and charge up decrease is usually a blue module stat. So if you wanted to really pump up the rate of fire and you had a weapon that had an open blue slot, you could use one of these modules in that blue slot to give you a bonus to your rate of fire. Same goes for a green. A green module could fit in a blue or a yellow module slot. So you can see there is some amount of variation and customization that you can use with your modules. Once you place a module inside a weapon or an ability, as I'll discuss later, you can slot another module in that weapon over the top of it. For example, if I wanted to upgrade that module, let's see, this module is a 5% weapon fire, and it's a level 3, item level 3, with power rating of only 2. Say I wanted to upgrade this weapon. I could use this, which would give me 2.5 increase in weapon rate of fire, because this is an uncommon, while this is just a common, which will give me 5%. I can drop this in over the top of that module, and it asks me, are you sure? And I said, yes. Replaced module will be destroyed. So now I've reslotted this gun. My previous 5% module is gone. It's destroyed. They don't add up. So if I had a 5% and a 7.5, I won't get the added bonus of the previous 5%. I just have the current module. If I had slotted an epic in there and I really wanted to get it back, you can use this and it'll actually cost you credits. And credits are bought currency using Crystite. So it is possible to get them back, but it just costs you credits to get it back. That probably won't be that big of an issue until you get to late game, where you may want to save up your epic modules at that point, because they are probably fairly scarce. So that's a basic overview of weapon slots and modules. Now, I said there was two types of modules. There's weapon modules, as you can see here, and there's ability modules. Ability modules work the same way weapon modules do, except for you can't use weapon modules. The same rules apply: red, yellow, and blue, and you can have the halfways, the mixed colors, in either of the slots. Going back one more time to weapon modules. Now, a lot of people are very concerned about their primary weapon, and it's a good idea to make sure you're using the best primary weapon for your current level, because you always want to do the most damage that you can. What a lot of people don't realize is that your secondary weapon is also very important, because you have this stat. Let me put this back in here. You have this stat on your frame, your current frame, called power rating. Right now my power rating is 320.5. Now, for instance, look here, my primary weapon, which is my bio rifle, will do 265 and a shade damage per shot. Now, if you look here, it says damage per round 83. So there's a discrepancy here. The damage per round is a base level damage, which gets factored in by your power rating to give you your damage per round. So even though your weapon may be the same, your level, your power rating of your frame will affect your actual damage output. So this was the SMG that I was using for a long time. You can see down at the bottom, requirements requires level 11. And over here you can see that my Dragonfly frame is level 17. So it's time to upgrade. I went to the molecular printer, the workshop, and I built 3 guns of the same type. I enjoy using SMGs, so I built 3 of them just to see what kind of random bonuses I could get. And look, they were all different. This one's a surgical, this one's stabilized, and this one's long mag. Long mag gives you extra magazine size. Stabilized will give you both extra magazine size and increased accuracy. And surgical just gives you increased accuracy. While I could go for either one of these, I think I'm going to go for the one that has both. They're less stats, then I'll have less ammo than the long mag, and I'll have less accuracy than the surgical, but I'll get the benefit of both. So I'll look at the stats on this. First we look at DPS. Now DPS looks like it's an increase from my current SMG. That's not a surprise. My old SMG is 6 levels old. At the bottom you see item level, and it says 17, so that's plus 4. So the item level of my old one was 13. But more importantly, look at the second list down. It says power rating 17. Now, power rating, as we discussed over here, is very important to our damage output, not just for this weapon, but for all your weapons, and melee damage. Now, you might say, well, that doesn't look like a good upgrade. I mean, this is 9 less power than if I had kept my old SMG. But here you can see I have an empty module slot, and this is where the difference is. Since I'm level 17, I can use level 17 modules. This is the highest module I have, level 17, and it's a rare, so it gives me increased stats to the base stat, which is weapon rate of fire. So the common would be 5%, uncommon is 7.5%, the rare is 10%, and the epic would be 12.5% increase. But now look at the power rating. The power rating is 11. So if I slot this into this, I actually have a power rating increase of 2. So that'd be a net increase in power rating. So watch what happens here. First, I'll slot this over here. Now you see our damage per round actually went down. It was 265. Now it's 259. Now we're going to slot this guy in here, which increases the power rating by 11. So yes, I want to slot that in there. So now when we compare them, primary fire 267 compared to 265. So by upgrading our secondary weapon, we actually in effect upgraded our primary weapon output. So that's an important thing to remember, that base stats are important, but there's other overriding stats that help your damage output, your overall effectiveness of your frame. Now abilities, you can slot the normal way that we were talking about, and you'll be able to see, let's see, you always want to use the highest level modules that you can, because your power rating increases according to the level of the modules. For instance, this is a green level 13 module, and this is a green level 15. Power rating is 8, power rating is 9. So you always want to use the highest level module that you can. This is Energized Healing Wave. So this is one of the abilities of the Dragonfly. Let's see what happens if I put a 30% AoE radius in here. Now it doesn't increase any of my stats, except for my power rating. So maybe that's a good idea, maybe it's not. Let me back up. Improves the force and the AoE of an ability. Let's see if that increases. Yep, knockback force. That increases a little bit. I only lose 1 power rating, so it might be worth it just because I increase 2 stats instead of just 1 stat, which would be my power rating. So I'm going to go ahead and click that in. So then I need a red and a yellow. So this is an orange. Now an orange can fit in either of these. And I don't really have many options right now. Now modules you can either get by looting, or you can actually build them if you research them in your molecular printer. So let's see, improves the cooldown and duration of the ability. Now Healing Wave is just a one-shot instant thing, so duration's probably not going to help anything. So I think that'd be a waste if I used that. I'll save that for one of my other frames. Now green improves the range and potency. This might be good, so let's see if I can throw this in yellow. So it increases my range and the power. Not bad, considering yellow usually does duration, and if it's an instant cast, duration is not going to really help me, so sure, I'll throw that in there. Now I could put that in there, but I think that'd be a waste, so I will either later craft a red ability module to throw in there, or maybe I'll just leave it empty until I replace this. So now going back, now that I slotted those in there, now my primary damage went up again, because the overall power rating of this module has increased. So it's important to try to keep your abilities upgraded, because your abilities have power ratings too according to the level. You know, the higher the level of your ability, the higher the power rating bonus. So it's important to keep everything upgraded as well as you can because of the power rating stat. I hope you found this informative. If you have any questions, please you can ask down below in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you want to watch other guides. I've been working on class guides. I've got a few of them up. You can look at the links there on the screen. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask me directly, I broadcast nightly on Twitch TV. My name that I go by is Fire675. I'll put a link up on the comments as well. I broadcast every night after 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to ask me a question in person, feel free to log in, check it out, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it was very helpful. Thank you.